She's asymptomatic. She's asymptomatic. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from the Hippy Nurse. Hi, my name is Phyllis and I am the Hippy Nurse, and I want to wish all of you out there happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. My personal favorite holiday of this season is solstice, Yule, but this year I was going to host Christmas dinner for my entire family. Now, as most of you know, if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm a nurse and I used to work in juvenile corrections. I recently quit my job and I was scheduled to work a double on Christmas Day because my coworker, who has seniority over all of us, always takes Christmas off. So this is one of the few years I'm actually available on actual Christmas Day. So I was planning a big, huge holiday celebration for my entire family here in my home. I wanted to show off my new kitchen cabinets and my countertops, which I just renovated. And I've got a short video for you coming up on that next week that you can see how that turned out. But I was wanting to show that off to my family too. So today I'd like to give you a little holiday advice, if you're up for it. If you find yourself stressed out about this whole season, if you find that your plans have changed for celebrating Christmas because of whatever circumstances you have going on, I want to tell you my story and how I dealt with it to give you a little glimpse into how you might be able to handle it as well. So, Christmas Day, I was planning this big, huge meal. I bought a turkey. I bought a roast to do a Mississippi pot roast. I bought all these supplies to do a big vegan celebration so that everyone in my family could be pleased and have something yummy that they could eat. And of course, all the sides and 2 pies and cheesecake. Oh, the whole works. Beautiful dinner planned. Solstice Day, this past Tuesday, my favorite holiday. My son calls me up and says, "Mom, I can't come over for Christmas dinner this year. I just got diagnosed with COVID and I am very sick." My heart reaches out to him. He lives about a half hour away from me in a different town. I offered to do a lot of shopping for him, pick him up whatever he needs, drop him off medicines, drop him off cleaning supplies, whatever he needs. So one less person for Christmas. So with my 90-year-old mother living at home, her main contacts would be my husband and I, and we are meticulously careful and vaccinated. Now, most of my family's vaccinated, but I have one relative who is not, who is rather opinionated on the whole matter, and I honor his beliefs, but I also have to state my boundaries. But I did ask my entire family to do a quick at-home test before coming over, just to help protect my mother, especially now that my son has caught COVID. So then my daughter lives 6 hours away from me and had bus tickets for Friday to come into town for the holidays. She's asymptomatic, and so she took her test and it was positive. And then she started noticing a little bit of a scratchy throat, a little congestion, a bit of a headache, and she's like, Now this would be the second time for her. She caught COVID back in January, so this is her second time around with COVID. So my daughter's not coming. I have a third child. He is negative on his test, but his ride is his older brother who's sick, which leaves my nephew and his family, his girlfriend and their children. He never got back to me on whether or not he would test, and I know his opinions on that. So I'm like, all right, none of my kids are going to be able to make it unless my youngest can find a ride. So it really hurt my heart that this is the first holiday I've got off in years that I'm able to plan such a celebration, and I canceled. I just couldn't do it. I went through a full day of mourning. I was beating myself up. So Wednesday morning I woke up with my son being a positive, not knowing the status of anyone else yet. And I made my plans to get the whole house in shape, cleaning and putting up the last minute decorations. And I got one corner of my kitchen cleaned and straightened up when I got a phone call in the middle of doing all that from my daughter with her news. And then my motivation level went zoom through the floor. I had a very heavy heart all that day. So I went inward and I did the shadow work in the middle of my grief and in the middle of my stages of loss. And I decided I'm going to do one thing for myself. I haven't put up any Christmas decorations before now because I've been working in the kitchen on my kitchen renovation. So I also had all of my Christmas decorations to put up, and now I just didn't want anything more to do with Christmas. But the thing is, my Christmas village is my replacement for a tree. I don't do a tree anymore, but I love putting up my Christmas village. So my first steps in my grief was to sit with my feelings. Feel your feelings. And it's just recently come out that the common person doesn't know what they mean when they say, feel your feelings. And most people just wallow in the thoughts, thinking that they're wallowing in the feelings and thinking that they're feeling the feels, when they're just replaying all the thought storylines in their heads. That's not what feeling your feelings is. Feeling your feelings is going within the body, present moment awareness. Where in my body am I feeling this grief and this sadness and this loss? And so I sat with the feelings. I have a heaviness in the center of my chest. I have a sadness that is residing right in the pit of my heart. My shoulders feel heavy. My whole upper body is feeling this grief. It's hard to breathe. My lungs are not wanting to take the deep breaths, which makes sense because grief and loss is often felt in the lungs and in the heart. So I spent a few moments just taking some full deep breaths to the point where I could, with comfort and ease, and just allowed myself to feel in my body all these sensations. And you want to know something? It worked. I still had the grief and the loss, but I wasn't replaying the stories in my head so much. And I was able to make a plan for pivoting. Another key point when things are going awry and things are changing, to pivot your plans, to be flexible enough to come up with a new plan to do something similar to what you were wanting to accomplish. And that's what I was able to do. All right, I have no motivation now to decorate any of my house, to put up a single minute thing of Christmas decoration. Nothing. I didn't want anything to do with Christmas, but I remembered my Christmas village always gives me such immense pleasure. So I powered through, got out all the Christmas stuff, and just put up the village. And that's all. I packed up all the rest of the Christmas decorations and put them back in the closet. And the village is enough for me this year. What else did I do? I thought about all the food I had in my fridge, and I debated several different plans. But I also was thinking about my family getting canceled on and my sick son. So I decided I'm going to cook up all the meal on Saturday, just like I was going to before, except I'm not going to be under such a time constraint. Instead of trying to get everything on the table by 1 p.m. when we have our feast, I can do it throughout the day and cook in stages all day long at my own pace. I bought little tins to make my individual side dishes, and I'm making 3 different meals for each of my 3 family members to be able to have Christmas dinner. My husband is going into town Sunday morning. He's going to drop porch drops of the prepared food on everyone's porch. So my plans have pivoted, and at first I'm like, but calming and centering myself and getting into my body, I think it's a beautiful plan. And we're going to FaceTime on Christmas Day, the whole family, including the one in Florida that couldn't make it up this year. So we're going to still have a beautiful Christmas celebration, and the next day everyone can enjoy all the food. And it feels so good to have these new plans in place. So bottom line is, when you're facing some changes in plans that are really giving you some grief, maybe some holiday celebrations have completely gone by the wayside, be kind to yourself. Allow yourself that moment to grieve. It's a normal reaction for something like that. Don't beat yourself over having those feelings, and get centered into your body and really feel them on the body level. That's what feeling your feelings means. And then perhaps you can come up with a new plan to pivot your plans for a better plan that makes sense for the new circumstance that you're facing. All right, if you've enjoyed this video, I hope you have. Please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing below, all the jazz. It does help me out when you do that thing. And comment, what did you do for Christmas or your holiday celebrations this year? Did they change? Did you have to change them? How did you handle that? I want to hear from you. I want to know what your plans have been, how that worked out for you. All right, I love you guys so very much. Watch my video for tomorrow. I hope you all enjoy the Happy New Year, and I'll see you all in my next video tomorrow. Namaste.